All right. I was going to take the beach. Okay, there we go. We're taking the beach. We are taking the beach today as we get a live look outside. Looks like some folks are roaming. It's not a bad morning for it. You know, the sun is kind of out. It's a little overcast,
It is
right?
a little overcast,
It's a little
but I'm
overcast.
not complaining. I talked to some people up north recently. We've got it pretty good down here, Melanie.
Is it? It's still really cold in some places.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was in Utah for spring break.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, not my pick, but again, the kids' pick, and it was so crazy. Day one, it was 70. The next day, it snowed all day. They had a
Really?
weather authority alert day.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. We enjoyed it.
There's a lot of
but
beautiful land in Utah.
It's
I
oh
know.
my gosh, it was amazing. But coming here and then it's like this isn't so good. I mean, how does it work? How's your hair do during this weather?
It does great. You know, my hair somehow survives no matter what the weather is.
I mean, I might have to try that style.
Yeah, just saying.
I just would like this back, so that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. You once you go this way,
You
it's...
have beautiful eyebrows, though.
Well, yeah, I am the power eyebrows. as
You
I
have the
like to
power
call
eyebrows.
them. Yeah.
Okay. So Scott's joining us today for the Morning Show Plus, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of his adventures.
Yeah.
He's kind of all over the place. You
Yeah.
cover hard news, you cover wrestling, so you get it all in.
Just one or the other.
Yeah, and he had a really interesting interview lately. I do kind of want to start with what's happening on Friday here on News4Jax, as we are going to my zip code 32259. So that's Julington Creek.
Yeah, that's very
Durban
exciting.
area, and it's for our 4-year neighborhood.
It's so important we get there because it's such a... It feels new,
It does,
but
yeah.
it's not. It has been growing for decades now.
You know what's funny, Scott? So I moved there in 2019, literally right before the pandemic, and we moved into Durban, so it was an established community. But I had no idea what the change that had happened just in like the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Like that Walmart over there at Durban Park, movie theater. There's a Ross. There's an Ulta. There's all these restaurants. But all that stuff. I mean, just
I remember
a few years before, it wasn't
like
there.
10, 15 years ago, whatever it was, when the St. John's Town Center had gotten big in Jacksonville, everybody said, "Oh, you got to see what's going to Durban."
Yeah, and that was years ago,
That was
and it
years
took
ago.
a long time for it
And
to
now
happen.
it's here.
So look, Scott, so we drove, I went with a real estate agent, we drove 32259, pretty much all of it except for Rivertown. And I, again, was still shocked. And what it feels like is more like they're creating like a walkable regions, you know, like, okay, where I live, I could potentially walk to the grocery store if I really wanted to. I could get to a restaurant. I could get ice cream for the kids.
It really
and
is
every
one of the
community has their
jewel
own.
communities of Florida.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is just amazing.
Yeah, I wish it was a little more diverse. You know,
Yeah.
I think as it grows, we
Well,
may
it's
see-
new.
It's
That
new,
takes
yeah.
time.
It takes time to like bring in all kinds of different cultures and everything. But there's lots of food. There's lots of different restaurants. So that's one of my stories that I'm working on for your neighborhood. And even for someone who lives there, it was super interesting. So I imagine people who don't really know that area will be like, "Wow, that might be a cool place to go." And I think what's been cool for me too is the chains that aren't there. So it's like these original restaurants, these mom and pops, these like
Absolutely.
chefs that are renowned that are moving into the zip code.
Yeah.
So that's one of the stories. My other story, which was a little crazy because I did both of these stories in the same day, and this one I went with a real estate agent who's a friend of mine, and we just were, raucous, and I'm like, you have to stop cursing. I was like, this is for television.
Sure.
But then I sat down with the Baileys, Forrest and Stacy Bailey.
Oh, probably the biggest story to come out of there.
I mean, that's my neighborhood. I mean, they literally live a street over.
This is for Tristan Bailey,
Tristan
the young girl
Bailey.
who was killed.
Yeah,
yes.
4 years ago. She was murdered, stabbed 114 times. And I mean, I don't think you can cover that zip code without telling their story. For me personally, I've kind of avoided it because I felt too close to it. So this almost felt like, okay, I'm finally getting to talk to the mom and dad of Tristan Bailey. And when I tell you, they are some of the strongest people.
Sure.
They have a rhythm. When she would get weepy and the tears would start coming, he would swoop in and lift her up and, keep it on message because they're all about the foundation, which is amazing. They're teaching kids self-defense. They're talking about internet safety. They're talking about communication. I mean, they have such a heart for the kids. I think what's hard, everything is hard for them, but she would be graduating this year.
She would be, yeah.
Yeah, and so she had gone to a graduation ceremony or some senior night for a friend of Tristan's, and so they're doing all the things. And one thing, and just kind of talking a little bit about what you'll hear more in the story, but one thing I thought was so interesting is a lot of times they were like, this is for the neighborhood, it's for the community, it's for the police who work their butts off.
I remember, so my daughter is the same age as Tristan was.
So she's about to graduate.
She's about to graduate, and I remember when this happened, my kids would never hear about what's going on in the news. They all heard about this story because they could relate to it.
Yeah.
It was their age, it was their social group.
Yeah, and I think, they know they say there's still kids who cry like it happened yesterday. They still are working through their emotions. So we talked about it, but I'm telling you, their foundation is amazing. They stay strong. I asked them how they get through it, and they said moment by moment. Every moment, is different. And she said if I had asked her a month ago, she might have said hour by hour, but today, on that day, it was moment by moment. So amazing story. I hope I do it justice. I feel such a great responsibility to do a good job with it, so I'm going to sit down and work on that today. So that's some of what we're doing. We're doing growth, of course. We're doing talking to police. One of the things I thought was interesting is what kind of crime do you think is like the most crime that's coming out of that zip code?
Well, we don't go there, I know, for a lot of violent crime. That doesn't mean property crimes, I'm assuming, don't happen.
Okay.
That's just a guess.
Yeah, so financial crimes. Financial crimes. So people getting scammed, people making those, and maybe some of the older population. So there's some really interesting stories out of there where people are kind of falling for the okie doke and the scammers. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Jen is working on some of the fire stations that are coming, golf cart accidents.
Fire station's a big thing because when it grew so much, the infrastructure has to catch up. It doesn't happen in real time.
No.
Fire station, school, police,
Roads.
all the roads, yes, all of it.
Yeah, so it should be a good show. I think we have a lot that we're going to cover. We're there in the morning, we're there in the evening, and we'll be at Veterans Park. So I invite people to come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you want to hang out with us at 7 a.m. in the morning, come on out. I'm going to try to get some dog walkers.
A lot of people, you're a morning person, I'm not, but a lot of people are morning people, and you'll probably get a lot there.
I'm hopeful. I'm thinking, there's a skate park there, there's basketball courts, there's pickleball, which apparently people are like obsessed with in this community.
I don't get it, but I'm aware.
Right,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And there's the dog park, there's a skate park, so Mark is going to do some skating.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, not like on skates, but on a skateboard. So it
Mark's
should be
that type of guy. Yeah.
Mark is, our weather guy is that type of guy. Okay, enough about that. So tell me a little bit about your adventures lately.
Today, we're hearing reports of possible some rate hikes in Green Cove Springs going up for electric. I'm going to check that out. Why that matters is I think people forget. We historically have thought of Green Cove Springs, and this is kind of like what you moved into as a small town. It is, I think, the fastest growing city in our region because that outer beltway, the First Coast Expressway, is about to be done from the west side of Jacksonville to Shands Bridge. Yeah. And the estimates I've heard is it's going to triple in population over the next several years, like thousands and thousands and thousands of people turning into what we just talked about with Durbin in Green Cove Springs. So I'm going out there today and we're going to talk about electric rate hikes, what that means, why there's a need for it. In the other aspect of my life.
Because we said he covers it all.
I cover it all.
This
I don't just do news.
You get really excited about this.
Some people know, and like, why does the news do this? We do this because no one else ever has.
Right.
That's why we do it.
And there's an interest.
So we had Hulk Hogan on last week on our show, Going Ringside, our weekly wrestling show. Biggest stars in the world every week. And this week, certainly no exception. The Hulkster was here.
So he was here pubbing his, is it a beer?
It's real American beer. He's on this national tour. Okay. So when I saw he was coming through our area, I called immediately. I said, we want to talk to the Hulkster, and we talked to him. We talked to him about some fun stuff.
Right.
We talked to him about Dwayne Johnson running for president.
Oh, okay. What do you thought about that?
We talked to him about John Cena becoming a bad guy. Was it bigger than when he did it? I kind of corner him on that. And as you know, Hogan's become political in the last year. He was a big Trump supporter, President Trump supporter. So something happened the last few weeks. Tim Walz, who ran for vice president, went on Gavin Newsom's podcast. Gavin Newsom's the governor of California, and said, I could beat up anyone who's mega in a WWE fight.
No. Oh.
Tim Walz said that? Tim Walz said that. Big national story. So I'm like, well, there's one guy who I need to ask directly about that. We asked Hulk Hogan about that, and you'll want to hear what he has to say.
So is that already out there?
That's out there.
You go. So what did he say? I want to know.
He said that there's an elected politician who I've had on the show who's already challenged him and would probably beat Walz in the fight. I would recommend Going Ringside. Just go to Google, type in Going Ringside,
That's
you
it.
will find us. We're everywhere.
And you're on Twitter. You're on all the things.
TikTok.
You're on TikTok.
TikTok more than anything.
Oh, there's no
I
Twitter
believe
anymore.
we are now maybe, and it's hard to gauge, the second
say it.
biggest wrestling news site on the planet Earth on that TikTok channel.
Shut your mouth.
So we're working on it. I don't know for sure.
You know what I love? So we have an open newsroom, and all of a sudden Scott be like, asking Marcella, who you're going to meet in a minute.
Yes.
Hey, can you roll real quick? He gets in character and he's like, we have some breaking news to share. Blah 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 blah. He just goes, and I'm like, where's that going? You're like, TikTok.
So I had a come to Jesus moment yesterday when I had to look up an old story I did on News4Jax about the news here locally,
Right.
and I typed in Scott Johnson WXT. Usually
It's
my story comes right up.
Yeah.
That's not what happens anymore when I search my name.
Wrestling.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you
it was
transformed
harder.
yourself.
It was harder to find my old news stories.
You need to write a book because
Yeah.
you found your passion. You've always been passionate about this. Now you've been able to incorporate it into work. And
Yeah,
you're
I'm having a
killing
ball
it.
with it. In the history of mass media in the United States, a straight news person has never done this before.
Right.
So
yes.
it's weird, and
Right.
everyone's trying to absorb why is this happening? I'm like,
Right.
because no one ever did it.
I love this for you.
So-
Hey, give it up. Give it up for Scott.
So it's a lot of fun, so check it out, The
No,
Hulkster.
give it up. I'm going to teach you because he's not really cool. We're
No,
going to
at
blow it
all.
up. He's not cool
Real
at all.
quickly.
Okay.
Tomorrow, the first ever wrestling match on Going Ringside will be
What?
released.
Oh, no. Is it you?
No, 2 WWE stars
Oh,
are going
real
to
ones.
wrestle exclusively on Going Ringside
Where are
tomorrow.
they doing this?
It
In
was
the
shot.
studio?
It was shot in St. Johns County
okay.
at an official wrestling ring, and they did it
Scott.
exclusively for our cameras.
Scott, you are breaking
That's
the
tomorrow.
barriers. You're going all out.
That's tomorrow.
I love it. All right, so get out of here.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta go to Green
Appreciate
Cove.
you. Okay, so I think we have to go to commercial break. Actually, stay with us. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay.
We're gonna go
It's
to
gonna
commercial
look
break. Go
awkward.
ahead and hit this run break, and then we'll be back. So we are back live. I have Marcella Carmago with us today. She's digital producer. So a lot of your stories, and Katie. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. I'm like, everybody knows Katie.
I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
Katie,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. You know, I brought you on because you write so many like cool stories. You kind of have an interest in some things, and you'll go and you'll turn stories that we would never necessarily be able to do on the
They're
news.
so cool. Yeah.
One you did was the Jacksonville Run Club.
Yes.
And it actually has motivated you and some other people in the newsroom to start running.
Yes, so it all started back in January. Jalen, one of our floor directors, and I were like, oh, we should do a feature on the Jacksonville Run Club.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you are working on a story, you gotta immerse
You
yourself.
got to get in
into
it,
the
yeah.
experience. So,
And you had run the Gate River Run, or was this
well,
before?
that was before. I'm not
okay.
a runner, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with that. I'm
You're
not
right.
a runner, but I'm like, let's just do it for the story, you know, and give people a behind-the-scenes experience. So we went. It was like in the 30s that morning.
Oh, wow.
It was
You
so
were committed.
cold. Yes.
That's
And they
dedication. It's your
meet-
fault, Katie.
So they meet at Friendship Fountain at 7 a.m. every Saturday.
Okay.
And we did it. So I was
Wow.
like, I did it for the story. I didn't think I would like it,
Right.
but I absolutely
Oh,
loved
I love
it.
And they are energetic. They are
Yes.
talented. They do not play.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I was like, who would come here in January on Saturday morning? And there were so many people.
Oh, I love
there.
it. Okay,
And
so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're running out of time. I talked too long to Scott. I'm bringing you on again. But how can people read the story that you did?
yes, just look up Jacksonville Run Club,
Okay.
and people will be able to see like the times, and they can also see like the behind the scenes video that we put.
Okay, I'm going to bring you on again. I'm sorry. I cheated you. Okay, don't go. We're going to go out to the beach. Katie, you got 10 seconds. Give it to us,
Look, people
baby.
are running out there. They're running, you know, and it's looking good. So the beach looks good today. 20% chance of a pop-up shower, but you're going to be fine there. Mel's counting me down. We'll see you guys on the noon.
Bye.